Lesson 24 of the Enjoy Life Forever book deals with Satan and demons, and the ways in which they try to deceive people. It warns against anything to do with Spiritism and demonism, because that is how Satan and demons can influence people. Then question is asked, why is it important to destroy anything you have that is connected with Spiritism? I repeat, why is it important to destroy all objects related to Spiritism? Question: if a person practicing Spiritism wrote a book about Spiritist sessions, how they can connect with the spirit world, how different mediums work, and what kind of messages they get from the spirit world, would such a book be a Spiritism-related object? Or, if this same Spiritist were to do his own translation of the Bible, using spirit mediums and messages from the spirit world, would this be an object related to spiritualism? Wouldn't these be the kind of books that the organization says should be destroyed? Destroy why? Because they are books directly related to Spiritism, written with the help of the spirit world. Johannes Greber was a well-known German Spiritist. The Watchtower, October 1, 1955, page 603, 604 says about him, Johannes Greber, a former Catholic clergyman, has become a spiritualist and has published the book entitled Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Its Purpose. 1932, McCoy Publishing Company, New York. And in the Watchtower on February 15, 1956, on pages 110, 111 it says Johannes Greber in the introduction of his translation of the New Testament, copyrighted in 1937, I myself was a Catholic priest, and until I was 48 years old had never as much as believed in the possibility of communicating with the world of God's spirits. The day came, however, when I involuntarily took my first step towards such communication, and experienced things that shook me to the depths of my soul. My experiences are related in a book that has appeared in both German and English and bears the title, Communication with the Spirit World, Its Laws and Its Purpose. In keeping with his Roman Catholic extraction, Greber's translation is bound with a gold leaf cross on its stiff front cover. In the foreword of his aforementioned book, ex-priest Greber says, the most significant spiritualistic book is the Bible. Under this impression, Greber endeavors to make his New Testament translation read very spiritualistic. The foreword to his translation of the Bible also says, many contradictions between what appears in the ancient scrolls and the New Testament, as we have grown to know it, arose and were the subject of his constant prayers for guidance, prayers that were answered, and the discrepancies clarified to him, by God's spirit world. At times he was given the correct answers in large illuminated letters and words passing before his eyes. Other times he was given the correct answers during prayer meeting. His wife, a medium of God's spirit world, was often instrumental in conveying the correct answers from God's messengers to Pastor Greber. In 1962, the organization published a 64-page booklet called, Word, Who Is He According to John? On page 5 of that booklet they dealt with John 1 verse 1, which they translate, the Word was God, with a lowercase g. The booklet cited as evidence a translation of the Bible by Johannes Greber, who had done it with the help of Spirit World, assisted by his medium wife. Why did the organization use Johannes Greber as a source when they knew he was a Spiritist and his translations were contaminated by Spiritist methods? The same book was also discussed in the Watchtower, September 15, 1962, page 553, which you can also easily find in the Watchtower online library. This Watchtower also used Johannes Greber's translation as a source. Another obscure passage is Matthew 27 verses 52 and 53, which Johannes Greber used Spiritism to translate. When these verses are compared with other translations, Johannes Greber's translation is exceptionally different. And when you compare the Johannes Greber translation with the New World Translation, Matthew 27 verses 52 and 53 is strikingly similar. Watchtower, April 15, 1976 states, a report in the Bible, as translated by Johannes Greber, says that when Jesus died, the earth quaked, and the rocks were shattered. Tombs were laid open, and many bodies of those buried there were tossed upright. In this posture they projected from the graves and were seen by many who passed by the place on their way back to the city. Why did the organization use Johannes Greber's translation to translate the New World Translation when they knew he was a Spiritist? Or did the Jehovah's Witnesses governing body channel messages from the same source as Johannes Greber? This may come as a shock to those Jehovah's Witnesses who live in the good faith that the organization studies everything very carefully and quotes only reliable sources. Oh, one more thing about Johannes Greber's translation of the Bible, and his book, Communication with the Spirit World of God, from a few years earlier. An organization that fanatically teaches Jehovah's Witnesses to destroy everything related to Spiritism, not only quotes his questionable translation, but also wants to own those books. This letter from December 1980 proves this without a doubt. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York Incorporated, December 20, 1980. Johannes Greber Memorial Foundation, 139 Hillside Avenue, Teaneck, New York. Gentlemen, this is to acknowledge receipt of the 2 books you recently sent to us, the New Testament translated by Johannes Greber, and his book, Communication with the Spirit World of God. We appreciate your sending these volumes on to us. For some years we have been aware of the translation by Johannes Greber and have on occasion even quoted it. Copies of the translation, though, have been hard to obtain. Since we have 4 libraries in our headquarters facilities consulted by the members of our staff, including the writers for our journals and books, we wonder about the possibility of obtaining a few additional copies of the New Testament. Please direct any communication about the above request to the writing department. Sincerely, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, Inc. Just a short summary at the end. 1932 Johannes Greber wrote a book entitled Communication with the Spirit World of God, Its Laws and Purpose. 1935 Johannes Greber completed his own translation of the New Testament. 1955 in the Watchtower, Johannes Greber was known to be a spiritist and to have translated the New Testament using the spirit world. 1962 the Watchtower quoted Johannes Greber as a source to support John 1 verse 1. 1976 the Watchtower quoted Johannes Greber to support Matthew 27 verses 52 and 53. 1980 the letter revealed that the organization owned books by the spiritist Johannes Greber and asked for additional copies of his translation of the New Testament. And if you want more evidence, I warmly encourage you to research this topic further yourself. The evidence is overwhelming, and this presentation was just a small scratch of the surface. May Jehovah and Jesus bless your sincere efforts to find the truth.